What's the most gut-wrenching thing your spouse has done to you? The moment I started my new job, I felt like I was in the right place. My boss, the owner of the company, is very cool and kind. She's self-made and she loves her job. I was so proud of working with a woman like her, so I wouldn't shut up talking about her to my husband. Especially in the beginning. My husband was as fascinated by her as I am until he met her at a company party last Christmas. She must have been beautiful when she was young. She could have been a model. I think his fascination became a crush or an obsession, or maybe worse, love. Now he follows her on TikTok. Her accounts are private, but he stalks her with my account. He also follows the company's Instagram and likes every picture she's in. He asks about her all the time. She's a very private person, but when her divorce from her ex-husband was finalized at the beginning of this year, we all found out because he started showing up to work. He owned half of her company now, and he started to try to make changes in our work hours and salaries. We found out that her husband had cheated on her with a younger girl whom he also tried to employ in our company. She eventually convinced her husband to sell her back his share. We're still in this process now. My husband has followed all this and was so sad for her. He said, "How could anyone do this when they had a woman like her? If I was him, I would cherish and love her." I got very angry and told him that all men prefer younger women if they could choose. He laughed at me and told me only losers do that. The last straw was last Friday. We were out for a movie night and we saw my boss with a young man. He looked to be in his mid-20s. My husband lost it. I didn't know that she dated younger men. He wanted us to go say hello, but I refused and yelled at him to control himself because he looked pathetic. When we got home, he was frantically going through her social media. Until he found the guy and he sighed in relief. The guy was her nephew. My husband was so happy, like a weight lifted off his chest. I lost it on him. I started crying and told him he was in love with her. He was shocked when I pushed and kicked him out of our bedroom. I locked the door. He stood outside trying to calm me down, telling me he loved me and I'm his girl and always will be. Then he said something that ruined me even further. "It's not like someone like her would look my way. I haven't slept since then. Why is he feeling like this? She's too old for my husband, so what is it? And why would he think he couldn't have her?" He refuses to admit anything. I'm in so much pain and I don't know what to do. I decided to separate from him. I felt like my heart couldn't take it anymore. My intuition told me that my husband wasn't all mine. My husband was in total confusion. He said that I was making a mistake, making a mountain out of a molehill, but he moved in with his brother. We decided to start couples counseling too. It went well the first 3 weeks or so, but my husband became more and more reluctant to participate, and sometimes he just canceled on me at the last second. He stopped showing up this month and he also stopped calling and texting me. I was even more heartbroken. But it just solidified that my intuition was right, seeing that he is not interested in working on us anymore. I chose not to quit my job. I still loved it even with all the heartbreak. I never see my boss anyway, and she doesn't even know of my existence. My husband eventually stopped being active on Instagram, and I thought it was normal because we were going through adversities. Until yesterday, when his brother shared a post of my husband. My husband was in a restaurant holding a woman's hand. So I commented, "What the hell?" This morning my husband called me for the first time in months. He was totally scared and started begging, "Please don't ruin this for me, please don't ruin this for me." I asked him, "What do you mean?" He said, "Don't tell her about us." It never ever crossed my mind even. That woman in the picture was my boss. I started crying and screaming at him. "How could you do this to me? How could you tell me that it was all in my head when it's obviously all over your Instagram?" He said it just happened. He just happened to find her on a Bumble. He begged me not to ruin this for him. She knows he's in the process of divorce, but she doesn't know that he already knew who she was or that she was the boss of his ex. They have been seeing each other for 6 weeks and it is getting serious. He begged for a good 5 minutes, telling me how he hadn't been this happy in all his life and that I shouldn't ruin his happiness again. I have been crying since this morning. He has no regard for me and my feelings. Everything he is thinking of is not to scare her away. When I told him this, he said that I was the one who left him. "Don't hurt us and I promise to give you everything you want. She is happy with me, so don't hurt us." I talked to my boss yesterday after lunch. I told her everything. I told her about the day at the movie and how it basically made me realize that our issues were greater than I thought. I told her that I knew and accept that my marriage is over and that my husband didn't love me anymore. I mentioned that my husband had found her on a dating app, which is only partly the truth. She was silent the whole time I was talking, just listening to me until I mentioned the dating app. That's when she interrupted me. "That's not how we met. He has been a patron at my gym for the past 6 months, maybe a year. I know her gym, it's the one across from our workplace. She works out there every morning before coming to work. I didn't know he had joined it because I knew him to be a member at the gym near our home. He has been, without telling me, working out just across the street from me every morning." She looked shocked. I apologized and told her that he had kept dating her a secret from me and that he begged me not to talk to her. She apologized for everything that happened to me and asked if I needed any help. I said no and she thanked me again. When I got home, my husband was there. He had called me at least 50 times but my phone was on silent. He was crying, calling me bitter and pathetic. He said I ruined his relationship and future. She is scared of him now and it's all my fault. He hasn't done anything wrong. He stayed faithful to me and would have stayed that way if I didn't kick him out. I asked him to leave and told him that I was starting the divorce. I have been crying since he left. We haven't seen each other for weeks and I don't think I'll ever see him again.